and supporting accounting practices for past 25 years. His accounting firm delivers tax and consulting services for individuals, in corporations, public and private companies, and government organizations. He originally been a chartered accountant from India, and then when he migrated to United States, he got his certification into the public accounting here to practice in the states of the New York and also Massachusetts. And he can also do the accounting for all the people from across 50 states. Welcome, Ramarao Garu, for this webinar. I'm actually multitasking here, admitting people as well as talking.
Oh, wow.
So,
you're doing a good job.
So you have to excuse me with the pauses and everything. So most importantly for everybody here, they are very approachable, very true professionals, very honest and genuine, and also considerate in their professional fees in the time of the needs if anybody has any financial constraints to discuss with them. So they have their websites, Rani M&D law firm. If you just Google it, you will get it. Same thing with Ramarao CPA, you will get it. You have all their information and the types of the support services they do, and pretty much available. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over the mic to Rani to just speak about a little brief about what she's offering and she's been doing, and then followed by Ramarao, what he's been doing. I request everybody to mute their microphones. It just helps us in the conversation. And anybody who wants to speak, then they can unmute and then speak. And then immediately they can mute themselves back. That avoids, because we have almost reached 50 participants at this time. And then while the conversation, we may get another more numbers. So let's be conscious about our not crisscrossing and then disturbing this webinar. Thank you again, all joining. So I'm going to hand over quickly to Rani M&D. Rani, welcome.
Thank you, Balaji, and thanks for the opportunity to help and assist providing everyone some information, especially in these crazy times, shall I say, due to the pandemic. We've seen things such as, people dying within the matter of 60+ days, thousands and thousands of people, which is unprecedented in the country and in our lifetime. So most importantly, we have a big issue with the, we have a big issue with our foreign visa workers, the individuals on different visas in the country. We also have issues with their ability to stay in the country, continue to be employed, especially when we have problems with the government whereby there are state closures in every state that limit the ability to work. And some can convert to working remotely and some cannot. And that's a big concern that we have currently, that some individuals can actually work and some cannot. We have certain fields of individuals who can work remotely, but many have been terminated, and that raises many questions to professionals on certain visas. The fact is also the climate of the administration, the Trump administration, has been very negative towards foreign nationals. And in an attempt to protect US workers, President Trump seems to tighten the restrictions on foreign nationals, their work visas, and permanent residents even of the United States. For instance, President Trump has even implemented a ban, a supposed ban for 60 days. Balaji, as I'd spoken to you about, that really has shocked many individuals and who are concerned that they'll never, what does that mean for them? Permanent residents, a ban on that, what does that even mean? So certainly it's a difficult time and everyone has questions. What sort of benefits can they obtain, even if they're on visas, along those lines. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me, Balaji, in relation to this?
I'm going to have Ramarao introduce first, and then I'm going to go with a few questions.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Open the floor as well. Thank you, Rani. That's wonderful. Ramarao?
Yeah, okay. I think Balaji gave me a wonderful introduction about me. I mean, as he said, I'm a chartered accountant from India, and I'm a CPA here doing practice almost like for the past 20 years in Dutchess County. And then now today Balaji requested me to participate, I mean, in this webinar about the COVID impact. I'm glad. I mean, I'm a part of your group now and share my thoughts on this COVID financial impact with you guys. I mean, I'm really happy about that. But the unfortunate thing is about the COVID. I mean, nobody wants that issue, but it happened. So let us. I will try to give some insight. Uh, what type of benefits available for individuals from all aspects. Do you want a general briefing about the impact now?
Yes, Ramarao, you can.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you guys are aware that the government passed the CARE Act with the $2.2 million. I mean, $1 billion.
Excuse me one second, Mr. Ramana.
Yeah.
There's somebody who is, we can't
Somebody
hear.
had to mute their.
People have to mute themselves. Somebody has to mute themselves.
I'm going to mute all and unmute Ramarao. 1 second.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes, Ramarao, go.
Can I go ahead? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the CARE Act basically uses few benefits for individuals and businesses, and of course for everyone. So basically, it is giving some stimulus, emergency relief to all the individuals, and also expanding the unemployment benefits. And then federally guaranteed some loans to the business, and of course some federal relief programs in this package. So from individual aspect, I think we have to discuss about the stimulus package and the unemployment benefits for individuals. Okay, I will give the brief description about these two important things from this CARES Act. So the first one is, I actually, Balaji, we are a little bit delayed meeting because most of things already taken place.
Correct.
But anyhow, so let me give you the important thing is about the stimulus package that was announced by the Congress. They gave a package of $1,200 for each individual. They use the word resident alien who have the social security number. So it's pretty much available for everyone. Whoever is having the social security number. Suppose if we don't have the social security number, then it may be an issue. But as long as you have the social security number and you file the tax return, even though you don't file the tax return, you are eligible of $1,200 per individual and $2,400 per family, and $500 for each dependent below the 17 years age. So this is very important stimulus package Congress issued to everyone. Actually, they are coming up with the second package again, maybe another $1,200 per individual, and then another $2,400 per family, but that's still under discussion now. Probably they may pass it soon. So this is very important stimulation package. I believe everybody should get it. There is a slab for individual 75,000, and then for married filing jointly 150,000. Okay, below this, everybody should get 1,200 and 2,400. Then the page out starts once you cross the 75 at per individual, and 150K for the joint filing, married filing jointly. So that is one important stimulation package. I hope you guys, most of the people should receive it. May not be full amount because it will pay out start from 75 to I think 199K for individual and 198K for the married filing jointly. Once they reach these income limits, adjusted gross income limit, this will be paid out completely. So this is one of the important stimulation package we got right now, and then probably we are going to get another round of second stimulation package soon. And then the second benefit, very important, is the unemployment benefits. I know everybody is aware of the unemployment benefits, but the question is, who is eligible now? Is there any specific rules and regulations for the eligibility? That is very important. And then how much money these benefits provide, and how long you will get the benefit. These are the three important questions now everybody is asking about the unemployment benefits. So, I mean, now there is a question from probably from all the resident aliens from the point of taxation. Non-immigrant resident aliens, unlike the regular citizens and then regular social security, everybody is eligible now to claim the unemployment benefit, especially people on the like H1 who's supposed to work only for the specific employer. They are also, they are also eligible for to claim the unemployment benefit in this particular scenario for COVID-19 scenario. So there is no restriction on them. They can also claim the unemployment benefit. And the benefit is, can I go ahead and extend the unemployment benefit? Okay. So the unemployment benefit, as I told you, it's everybody is eligible now, including the self-employment people, including 1099. So people, they are all traditionally not eligible for the unemployment benefit, but now under the Specific Care Act, all these people are eligible to claim the unemployment benefit. And other thing is, this unemployment benefit is basically for the state level benefit. So each state has its own rules, even though federal has some regulations, but this unemployment will be controlled by the local state governments. Okay, now the state government, apart from the regular unemployment benefit, federal government is giving $600 per week. $600 per week till July 31st right now. They may extend it further, but right now till July 31st, people can get, apart from the regular unemployment benefit, another $600 benefit from the federal government. But state will give this fund and they will claim with the federal government. So the people claiming the unemployment benefit, they may see two payments each week. One is from the state government, the regular unemployment benefit, and the second one is $600 from the state. Technically, it's a federal funding. Okay. The third benefit what they gave is the extended period. Normally, I think every state has their own rules to provide the unemployment benefits between 18 to 24 weeks, roughly around 10. But now this is extended by another 13 weeks. So there is a possibility that people can get unemployment benefit for 39 weeks. So it is really helpful for everyone. I mean, whoever is claiming the unemployment. So these are the these are the three major benefits because of this particular scenario of the COVID-19. So, so basically there are two major things I want to highlight. One is the stimulation package and second one is unemployment benefit. Balaji, I will stop it here and then people have any questions on these two topics, let me know.
So one question is there, Ramarao, is that what if people don't get it, although they fall under that income bracket you mentioned individually or jointly, what if they don't get it?
There are certain scenarios. See, basically, you file the tax return, your income is below, as I told you, below 150 for individual and below 200, 190 for joint filing. If they don't get it, there are a couple of reasons why they are not getting. One is when they filed the tax return last year, maybe 2018, the 2019, probably they might have paid the dues to the IRS. That means the IRS has the bank account number only for the sake of payment, not to get any money into the account. In such scenario, IRS is not giving the money directly into the account. They are sending the checks. So sending checks may take some more time. So people have to wait. But unfortunately, right now, there is no way anybody can contact IRS. Their what do you call that, customer service centers are closed. So if you analyze, if your case comes under the first category, that means you did not give the IRS
Ramarao, we lost you for a minute. Yes, Ramarao, resume.
Yeah, that I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can I unmute? Okay. Can you hear me now, Balaji?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm coming back to your question of the people don't get. First of all, you have to analyze is there any specific reason why you did not get the check in the first place. Check whether you filed the tax return in 2019. Check what is your income, whether it is below 100K for the individual and 198K for joint. Okay, and then third thing is if you whether you paid the tax last year. If you paid the tax last year, IRS not going to use your bank account number. And recently, IRS gave us a provision to update your banking account information in the IRS website, but that is over now. I think the last day to update the bank account is last Wednesday. So now you cannot update that. So the only option for you is if you are eligible, you just need to wait and see. Hopefully, IRS may open the customer service center soon. Then definitely you can raise a question with the IRS about your scenario. So the only solution right now is to wait and see.
Very good. Wonderful. Thank you, Ramarao. So what we're going to do is, we're going to definitely, in a bit, we'll open the floor for the questions from everybody. Meanwhile, I'm going to just take up on the, from the legal perspective. So I'm going to ask Rani about the similar thing with the employment compensation and unemployment compensation pertaining to the H1 candidate at this time, and then any candidates who are processing in the process of green card, how does that work for them? Are they eligible?
Sure, right. So that's definitely a good question, and Mr. Ramarao did address the fact that he said that certain, even H-1B people, I believe you mentioned, Mr. Ramarao, they can apply for unemployment compensation.
That's correct.
Right, and what under federal law, what federal law the federal government has done is separate the visa categories into 3 types of individuals in the United States. And one is going to be the permanent resident green card holders. The second category is aliens who are lawfully in the United States for the purposes of performing employment services. That is the H-1B, OPT, TN, and whatnot. And thirdly, there are aliens who are permanently residing in the United States under the color of law. The color of law relates to the fact that they're allowed to be in the United States, but they're either refugees, asylees, and individuals who, there's a VAWA, Violence Against Women Act. That's the third category that they've separated foreign individuals into: the visa holders, permanent residents, and this people residing in the United States under color of law. The ones who are not technically eligible for unemployment, let's talk about the ones who are definitely eligible for unemployment compensation is easily the permanent residents of the United States. Furthermore, people who are here because of disaster relief and who have been authorized to be in the United States for disaster relief, such as the refugees, asylees, Violence Against Women's Act, individuals who have under human trafficking, those people are also entitled to apply for unemployment compensation. The other category, which is our visa holders, H1s, L1s, O, TN, and whatnot, they have, and P visas, they are actually technically under federal law not allowed to apply for unemployment compensation. Because if a foreign national is working and their employment authorization is tied to one specific employer, they are not available to accept unemployment compensation. However, what we have seen, as Mr. Ramarao has confirmed, is that certain states, they've allowed the states to make a determination of further determination to guide certain visa holders. And what we have found is that the exception to this is a disaster relief unemployment compensation under COVID-19, which is a disaster relief. And that is where H-1B visa holders seem to be allowed to apply depending on the state. We know that New York State seems to permit that. And again, they would check directly either with an accountant and or with the state that they are part of. So along those lines, that is what, those are the 3 different areas, and that is the fact that you can, certain visa holders. Now, the other individuals, surprisingly, who can also apply for unemployment compensation are F1 students who have been working pursuant to optional practical training, which is employment authorization. Normally they finish their degrees in the United States. These are foreign students, and they have worked for 1 year or 24 months pursuant to STEM. They are also allowed to apply for unemployment benefits. Also H4 EAD individuals can apply for unemployment benefits as well as J1s and M1s. So that in a nutshell is are the individuals who are entitled to apply for unemployment compensation. Oops.
Oh. Go ahead, Rani.
And would you like me to, any questions on the H1s?
Balaji, is there any question on the, I can see a question here. Somebody put the question on.
To unmute all.
Please answer.
Anybody has any questions on the H1? If anybody has a question on their screen or on their phone, they can unmute themselves and then they can ask the question to Rani or Ramarao.
Yeah, hi. This is Srini Balaji, and this question for Rani. So one of my friend, basically, I mean, my cousin, this is related to H1 I-94. The question is like when you landed in USA at the Port of Authority, they given their I-94 until their passport expired. So, but their H1 status was like, you know, remain for another one and a half year. But even though the H1 is expired in future, they're given only until passport expiry. So how you can get extended is I-94?
Okay, so let me clarify. Obviously, do you have any dates? Because definitely if the I-94 is linked to the passport, that stay, the legal stay in the United States is governed by that I-94, which means that he needs to file for an extension of his H-1B. There's no such thing as an extension of an I-94 without an extension of the visa status. He needs to go to his employer and ask for that. Has the date passed or is it still available?
Yeah, it is still available. I think it's expiring in December, but his visa is valid until next year, December.
What we have advised also is for the individual to go to the port of entry, which is the airport that they entered into, and meet the immigration people if they're available, and then they would extend. Sometimes that's one easy way to try. You know, it takes you a day or a few hours. They'd have to go and check and say, you know, my I-94. First, they would have had to get the updated passport. Do they have that? If they have the updated passport, then they can contact the immigration officer at the port of entry if it's nearby. And then if they choose not to do it, then you can apply for an H1 extension. So that's the first step. And then if that doesn't work, go to step 2, which is ask the employer to file an H1 extension. That is necessary. Otherwise, the person will be illegal.
So what if, like, you know, in the current situation, like, you know, I mean, assume that if it is coming soon, and if we go out of the country and getting in, like through Canada or like Mexico, is that advisable at the current situation?
It looks like it's not advisable because there's a travel ban into Canada right now through the month of June. So I certainly think it's going to be even perhaps extended. So forget the travel part. You don't want to take a chance right now. So unless you're talking about 6 months out that he still has time, then you can try it that way. He can also go out of the border and re-enter. Yes, he can do that. Absolutely. If he's able to.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your information.
Yeah, sure.
I'll pass on that. I appreciated your information. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Hi. Hello.
Go ahead. Please announce your name and the state you're calling from.
Yeah. Hi, this is Suresh. I'm calling from Maryland. This question is for Ramarao. This is regarding the stimulus package. And this is especially about H-1B employees. Some of them have got, amount, some of them have not. So is there anything that we need to do from our side if you don't receive it?
Basically, there is on the IRS website, you can check the eligibility for your give your information and your income and your adjusted income for last year. You can get the answer from the IRS website immediately whether you are eligible or you are going to get a check. But I believe for most of the people, they are not able to look at their information there. There must be a reason for it. But otherwise, everybody should get it. So, I mean, are you saying that somebody did not receive?
Yes, for example, even I did not receive it. When I checked online, it says information is not known at this time. So what does it mean? I'm not sure.
Did you pay tax last year or did you get did you receive the refund?
Yes,
2018.
Yes. I paid 2018 taxes, but not 2019.
I'm sorry, I could not hear you. Did you receive the refund?
For 2018, yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to.
I've not received it. I had to pay back.
You have to pay back. Did you
Yeah.
update your banking information on IRS website?
It was always online payment for me.
Yeah, no, but as I mentioned earlier, IRS considered only the bank account which are meant for the refund. Suppose you pay the last year, they are not using those banking information. Okay, so in your case, I hope you will get a check, but checks it may take some time.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
But at least it should show the status, right?
But there is another thing. Actually, IRS gave another thing also on the same website. They gave a provision to update your banking information.
Okay.
So probably you missed that. So, but unfortunately, I believe they closed it now, but they may open it for the second stimulus check. But in your case, if you are eligible, you will get a check, but you can provide me your information later of the meeting. You can send me an email about your income, everything, so that I can tell you more about your specific case.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I gave you in general, but I can help you specifically based on your background, your income level. I can tell you what happened, and then probably I may be able to tell you whether you are going to get it or not.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
There's one question from Srini, right? Is this Srini?
Srinivas from Virginia. I posted my question, but anyways, thank you so much for conducting this webinar, helping NAPA families. Yeah, that's the first thing. Appreciate your initiation and then helping people. My question is this stimulus package amount considered to be public charge or unemployment benefits if we apply for it? So can this be considered in green card process as a public charge?
Srini, what is your status?
I am on I-140. I'm still waiting on the current date.
So you're on H-1 visa?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Did you apply or you did not apply yet?
Which one? So I-140 or a stimulus package?
Stimulus package.
Yeah, I got it. It's a direct payment to my account because
right. So which state do you reside?
I reside in Virginia. Yeah.
Okay. As Mr. Ramarao also indicated, and if the reason for the unemployment benefits is related to a disaster situation, that's where we see the exception that it should not affect your green card. You could just double check with, try to reach the chat group or whatnot of the local state government to just make sure. But we've seen that exception in New York. But I would ask you to just double check because, if there's a problem, you can fix it. But I'm assuming that, and Mr. Ramarao, you can also confirm, have you seen across statewide that across the country that the disaster relief related to unemployment benefits is acceptable for the visa holders? You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, one thing I want to tell you, but I believe I read somewhere, I'm not an expert on the immigration side, but I believe I read somewhere that it may not be a public charge when they claim the unemployment benefit on the specific.
Right. Unemployment benefits generally are not related to a public charge, do not trigger the public charge restriction or any potential negative impact, because these are earned benefits. You've already paid into them being an employee. Your employer has already been deducting a certain amount of money for certain aspects of this. Because it's an earned benefit, it will not trigger the public charge rule. However, the big question is whether you will receive them, And if you've received them by the state, that means that they've made a determination that it is permitted due to disaster situation and COVID-19. So I think you're fine, but once again, do me a favor, send an email to my email ID. I will double check according to your state. And my email is ronnie@emandilaw.com. That's RANI at EMANDILAW.com. Or my website is EMANDILAW.com. So Srini, just send me another email and I'll get back to you this week.
Sure, that helps. Thank you so much. And the stimulus package. So I received it by direct deposit. So will that be considered as public charge?
As I said, unemployment benefits are not do not trigger the public charge rule, and it would not be a problem. But as I stated, I will just double check in regards to because by federal law, visa holders are not supposed to get unemployment benefits, but unemployment benefits in itself do not trigger the public charge rule. So there's a whole level of relating each of these laws. So we'll be in touch.
Yeah, definitely. I have a few more questions later because the age out kids. So when topic comes, then I can ask the question. But the stimulus package, I received that. I read one of the videos saying that that's a public charge, and later point of time we have to pay it back when we file 485. So is that the case?
Sure, I'll get back to you on that, as I said.
Sure, thank you.
This law just came out February 2020. You know, we're talking about a couple of months, and it's almost like you have to ensure and verify with each entity as to what's going on. So it's a different, you know, it's a very quick situation when this has happened. So we have to make sure of each step.
Okay, Balaji, I have a question here about the stimulation package. Somebody is asking if they have ITIN number, they don't have the social security number, are they eligible for the stimulation package? IRS said very clearly the basic eligibility for a stimulation package is they should have the social security number. So people with the ITIN, they may not get the stimulation package with the ITIN numbers. Both have taxpayer and spouse, and they should have the social security number in order to get the stimulation check.
I think you mentioned it before.
Yeah, I mentioned, but I think somebody may join later. I think they raised a question on the chart.
Absolutely.
Saying that they did not receive because they have the ITIN number. Yes, right. I think as long as you have the ITIN, you don't get stimulation check. The eligibility is you should have the social security number.
Yep.
Yeah, Ramarao Garu, I understand that scenario where I'm in a different situation. So I applied for an EAD and I'm able to receive in another 2 or 3 months. Once I got the SSN copy for my wife, so would I be eligible for this year for getting a stimulus check?
I think it's a good question because the IRS is looking at the current status. So as of the day they issue the stimulation check, what is your scenario? Are you holding social security number? Are you holding ITIN? So I am not sure whether they are going to consider down the road once you have the social security number. But they are going to come. I think they are going to come with another second round. Hopefully by that time you may have your social security number, and then definitely. Did you file these 2019 tax returns?
Yes, I already filed it.
You already filed. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I cannot answer that question because to the best of my knowledge, IRS looks at the current scenario. They don't look at your future. So you are going to get the social security number. I have my own doubts. But once IRS open the customer service center, definitely we can check with the IRS about that.
So, Ramarao, you can also mention your email address for everyone so that if they have any questions, they can always reach to you.
Yeah, it's Balaji. Yeah, you can share my email.
Right.
It's one word, my name, ramarao@ramacpa.com.
Ramarao@ramacpa.com.
Do you want me to write in the chart?
You can, but that's good.
Okay, you can write it then. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Before end of the call, also, I'm going to make sure that I announce the email addresses for everybody.
Okay.
So my name is Srinivas from Virginia. I have a question for Rani. Thank you for your time. And so I've heard that there is some word on H4EAD going out, but then I've read something like, they're going to continue it. That's what I've read recently. So what's the news about H4EAD?
Well, the good news is that there's been no action. That's the good news. The second part of the good news is that a group called, and I think everyone has heard about this, it's a group called Save the USA something whatnot jobs. They filed a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security in regards to stating that H4EAD holders are a threat to US workers. And this 2015 law that had been passed to allow the spouses of H-1B visa holders to work should be rescinded or revoked. That's what they had alleged. However, the good news is that the Department of Homeland Security recently just determined and urged the district courts to rule in favor of the H-4 applicants' continuation of employment, because they indicated that H-4 holders, there is no evidence to suggest that they would take away American jobs. So they presented extensive findings in courts that the 100,000 people who are on H-4EAD in the United States did not adversely impact job opportunities in the United States, in the workforce. The District Court of Columbia is yet to make a ruling on this, but basically, so far so good. And the Department of Homeland Security is actually in favor of continuing H-4EAD. So that's the good part. Right now, I would just say wait, and the talk has been going on for a year plus, so nothing has happened. I think they're busy with other things at this time, so hopefully they keep staying busy.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. And I have one more question. So we have seen lately a lot of denials based on the specialty occupation. There was a lawsuit filed on DHS or USCIS, and they won. So USCIS lost basically. So
Correct.
Because of that, I've seen like May 8th, 9th, and 10th, around 50 of the decisions were reversed. That's what I've read. So just wanted to know more about that.
It's absolutely terrific news for immigration visa holders, attorneys, employers, that there were actually 2 landmark cases. I think it was in Jan-Feb. There were a couple. There were at least 2. One is ruled in favor of the fact that the specialty occupation law that requires the individual to demonstrate a bachelor's degree in a related field, that individual can qualify for an H-1 even if they are if there are more than one fields that qualify for the position. For instance, engineering degree holders, in addition to computer science holders, in addition to maybe MIS holders or bachelor's of technology holders, can all qualify to perform the position of a programmer analyst. Why? Because the coursework is somewhat similar. USCIS had indicated that, no, you have too many fields of study, and all of these fields of study, this does not mean, this renders the position not a specialty occupation. But the court held that USCIS came up with their own rules, which they did under the Trump administration, to seek to deny cases. And that's what really happened since the Trump administration came into power. They sought for ways to raise the denials of the visa holders. And luckily this has pulled back that and basically put it in the favor of the ruling in favor of all visa holders that even if you have many fields of study that qualify for the position, this is acceptable. So definitely we anticipate many more approvals. We anticipate a lesser rate of denials. If there should not be any denial related to specialty occupation, because when we file a case, we don't randomly take a case and say, oh, that's going to work. Let's see if it works. We evaluate and say, yes, these particular fields of study fall under this technology occupation, then you can apply. If you're applying for a marketing position, you better have a bachelor's in business administration or marketing. So we definitely guide the employer. So specialty occupation should no longer be a reason for denial if the immigration attorney is following the basic guidance.
Yep. Thank you, Rani. And one last question before I close. Sorry to everyone.
This is Srini from Atlanta. I just posted a question on the chat for Rani. Rani, this is related to the 180 days for the green card.
Sure. Okay, give me 1 second. Srini, the other gentleman was asking one quick follow-up question. Let's finish up with him and then we'll go to Srini.
Yeah. Thank you, Rani. So this year we've got a new H1 quota and most of the picked up H1 candidates. Will those candidates be denied to start working? Or so what's the take on that? So because of this employment fiasco, because of the COVID, will there be impact on these new lot of H1s who are being picked up and they might get approval or denial? What's the scene on that?
Sure. What happened this year with the H1 quota is that the rules changed. Every year in the past, you would have to file the H1B petitions by April 1st of that particular year. This year they had an electronic registration from March 20th or so till the April 1, that where the individuals had to file, all the employers filed by electronically. If they were selected, then you file the H1 petitions. So if, and then in order to file the H1 petitions, we have a 90-day window. It began April 1 and it goes till June 30th. That's 3 months. We're right now in the middle of it. What we are seeing is some employers are saying, wow, yes, I have 10 people who have been selected on the quota, but I have to see if the client wants that individual to continue is the contract available? So that's what's happening is I'm seeing maybe a 25% hesitation to file that H1B case based on the lottery because they were selected. Now they get to file the actual petition. So we are seeing a little delay. We're seeing some hesitation, 75, 80% of the time. We're still seeing it being okay, maybe 75%. Yes, definitely that's in the air. We're seeing that clients may not be renewing certain contracts, but the vast majority also have a lot of contracts that are ongoing. So it's a mixture of that, but that's a good point.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then Srini had a question about 180 days related to his wife.
Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead. What was your question?
So she's been in India for, she's getting close to 180 days and due to the flights unavailability to come back. So what is, sometimes they might ask questions at the the port of entry and ever related to the citizenship process.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's your, if your wife, did she have a scheduled flight that was canceled?
Yes, yeah, she's supposed to come in April, but it was canceled.
So the evidence that the flight was canceled should obviously you will hold on to, and the next available flight that she's permitted to come into the country, that at that point she'll take the evidence of the fact that her flight was canceled and she'll present it. This is an international pandemic, and it is going to be considered the fact that she had did try and take all efforts to comply with the law by scheduling a flight, but it was canceled. So that's good evidence, and I don't think that she'll have any trouble. They may try to give her trouble, but the point is that everyone's going to be in the same boat. It's understood it's a pandemic. She did try to come into the country, so I think she'll be okay.
Then should we gather anything for the citizenship when she tried for the citizenship and not like citizenship?
Yeah, I mean, again, she'll keep that evidence of that canceled ticket. Any communication between the travel agent via email or text, keep that documentation that demonstrates, keep any press related to the pandemic, related to the government of India and their rules related to the travel ban, because the airport might be shut, things like that. Hold on to certain information that will justify the fact that the flight could not take place.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
On that contest, right? That's for the green card people, right? So what about the non-immigrant working workers who are not able to depart from U.S. Before any authorized period of admission expires?
Right. So that's another question. The individuals who are on visas, and for instance, say an H-1B individual was laid off or terminated, those individuals have a 60-day grace period to stay in the country. So specifically H-1B holders, there are other visa holders that also have a grace period. The O-1s also have a grace period. So there's specific visa holders that do, E-visa holders, potentially the TN visa holders. And if they are fired from their jobs because the income is just not there to support their employment, during that 60-day grace period, they have to figure out, what do they do? Number one, they leave the country, that's what they should do. And obviously that is not practically possible. So number two, they would have to try to file a change of status to a different visa. That's one suggestion. Can they go to an F1 visa? Can they go to a dependent H4 visa? If the principal H-1B visa holder had a dependent spouse, has a spouse who's on H-1B, then the H-1B person can file and change status to an H-4. As I said, H-4, F1 to a student visa, and leaving the United States is not possible. So the other thing is they look for another job, and I've seen that happen as well. During the pandemic, one employer terminates, they're desperately trying to find another position. And if they file an H-1B, a new employment H-1B petition with a new employer, they can start working with that individual even within the 60 days. So the options are limited. The bigger issue is that if one is out of status for over 180 days in the country, they're subject to the 3-year travel bar. And so after the 60-day grace period, you start counting down. What is 180 days? But we expect that the travel will be lifted at least within, I would say, at least in the next 90 days, the travel should be lifted. The restrictions should be eased so you could leave the country. So I don't think that should be a problem. But of course, it's a stressful situation for individuals who are being terminated. Once again, they can look for unemployment compensation benefits related to COVID as they apply. And that is something that they can also research or check into.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ishwar Gumadiala, you had a question. So I'm going to say that this is Dr. Ishwar Gumadiala from Chicago area. He wanted to know any possibility of expediting the green cards for the physicians, because the medical staff is needed here. So is USCIS considering any options in that direction?
Absolutely, they are looking to expedite the visas for the practitioners, for the physicians and healthcare workers. There has been talk about it. It's going back and forth, because then Trump is saying, the Trump administration is saying, oh, we don't need certain people. So I don't have a clear answer for you on that. I can see if I do. And if you can send me your email, I will also get back to you and see if there's anything new. We know that there has been legislation and discussion about expediting foreign workers, healthcare workers' visas, especially J1 doctors and whatnot. But I'm not sure where things are at with it. You know, we've read that it would take place, but we can check onto it and give you more indication about that.
So in continuation of that, Rani, how is the green card processing being impacted at this time? Because like ourselves, not a lot of the USCIS workers are going in person to do the processing. Everything is being teleworked, but with this so huge of files, pending files, as well as a lot of information, basically PII, personal identifiable information across. So how is that impacting one? And the second thing, with the elections coming here, you think the USCIS or the Trump administration is going to expedite the green card into the citizenship?
Oh, okay, that's an easier question. I'm going to answer that first, which is the answer is no. Why would they? Why would they prioritize that unless they're trying to get votes? So
Yep.
Really don't know. We'll see if they can expedite to citizenship and get people to vote for them, for that Trump administration. Why not? So maybe you never know, but I doubt it. But let's see. Now, going back to question number one related to the green card delay. First off, recently, President Trump passed a ban, a temporary delay on green card holders for 60 days. So let's address that first. And what I do want to say about that was specifically to address individuals who had sought green card through employment, through an employer, number one, and other green cards that were related to family-based green cards, with the exception of citizens sponsoring their spouse and children. That was an exception to that rule, to that delay. So everybody else, family-based green cards and employment-based green cards, were supposed to be delayed for stopped processing for 60 days. I had just written an article whereby I wanted to reassure our foreign nationals in the United States or permanent residents in the United States who have applied for their family and who have applied for employment-based green cards, that this has absolutely zero impact on them. The reason why is because on March 20th, 2020, the U.S. consulate, the Department of State, stopped all visa processing to begin with due to COVID-19, purely related to COVID-19 and no other basis. Then President Trump issued a statement, I think in April, I'm going to cancel green cards for 60 days. It was really a political statement. It had zero impact. It was just something to scare everyone and make everyone fearful, because we got calls, my own family, what's going on? Are you going to be out of business? So if anything, that's what they were asking. And what's happening with these green cards? Is green card processing stopping? No, it's not. But due to COVID-19, all the U.S. consulates in the countries have shut down and the scheduled reopening is on June 1st or so. So once that begins to reopen slowly into June or July, when they determine COVID is not such a great threat, we're going to see that happening, and green card processing will continue. Another point to make is the green card process, as everyone is aware, takes years and years and years. Specifically for employment-based cases, it'd be 10 plus years. Family-based cases, unless it's a citizen sponsoring their wife or child, a wife or child could come to the country within a year to year and a half, or a citizen sponsoring their parents. So this 60 days doesn't halt anything. I just want to reassure everybody. It has no impact on anything, and green card processing takes years, almost a decade for employment-based right now. I saw another point in the chat group as to whether the visa bulletin is going to move forward. Again, at this time, we have a political administration that is counter against immigration to some extent, so I don't see them really trying to help. Only if you have, once you have a different administration in power, you're going to get positive help. So if you want to look for more positive results in immigration, please, you have to really vote the other way for the other party. That's what you'd have to do.
All right, that's good, Rani. Thank you.
Sure.
Now we have all the U.S. consulates being closed. Do we have any direction from USCIS with your updated information? Any idea when they're going to be open?
As they're slowly opening, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services has also closed down fingerprint processing for H-4 EADs, any EADs. Anybody who needs employment authorization documents, they have to appear for biometrics. Biometrics, which is fingerprinting. Even an H-4 individual needs to appear for fingerprinting. That is all seized, and what they were doing is using prior biometrics that were on file for that. So even if that is closed, the consulates are closed right now. Whether they're reopening, as I said, they gave a date. They keep moving the date forward. They initially gave a date into May 2020. That date has been pushed back to June 2020. So I think they're evaluating every month. They want to open. They really do. It's just a matter of every month and every 30 days. It's possible they could start by June with limited dates and days for the processing, but it's going to happen. It's a matter of time.
Thank you, Rani. There's one question on the visa bulletin dates are not moving at all. So this gentleman is holding I-140 for last 10 years. So do you think there will be a moment?
So that's what I mentioned that I'd seen that particular question, the visa bulletin. The visa bulletin is a listing of all countries' visa numbers that are available, so that the reason why there's a backlog, there are 4 countries that have a backlog: India, China, Mexico, and the Philippines. The reason why those countries have a backlog is because we've had the highest number of applicants from those countries. India's green card holders, comprise almost like 70% plus of the green cards. So because each country was only given a certain amount, and India, China, Mexico, and Philippines exceeded those amounts, that's how that visa bulletin was created. And every month, the visa bulletin lists the particular priority date, the month and the year of the visa that they will start processing. And right now they are, for instance, some gentleman had mentioned he's 10 years behind. Yes, for 2020, they're working on 2012 or 11 cases possibly, or even 2009 to 2010 cases right now. So that could change. There are times when the visa bulletin becomes current. It's happened 2 years in the 2 or 3 years, two or three times in the past 2 decades. So there's a possibility that could happen when all of a sudden all the visa numbers are available. I don't know the mechanism for that, but it does happen. But we can't, everyone is hoping that every year that would happen, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I have a question on age out kids. This is Srinivas from Virginia again. So,
yes.
If we file on the change of status because they are aging out.
Oh, right.
So do we need to file B2 as well?
No, a B2 is not going to help your kids. They'd have to go to an F1. Well, how old are they? They're going to be 21?
21, yeah. So by July, she's aging out. We have to file the change of status to F1, but somebody is suggesting that you file B2 as well. Both of them will save the status of on the application. But if you go for B2 approval,
Let me clarify. Yeah, I'd like to clarify because aging out is the process by which an H1, if it's someone's on the principal's on a work visa, an L1, O1, H1, their dependent children can be their dependents, like on the dependent visa H4, O3, L2, until the age of 21. If the child turns 21, they no longer can be on a visa. They have to get their own visa. So that's what age out means. Definitely your children, whoever are approaching 21, must file within the year prior to that to an F1 visa, and that's, I'm assuming that everyone goes to university or some sort of schooling. They could go to F1. F1 would allow them to be on that visa until they can then move to an H1 or until the day they receive their green card. The B2 is absolutely not an option. It's only good for 6 months at a time, and it's only good for visitors or gap situations. It doesn't benefit anyone, and it's absolutely not recommended.
The question is if we apply F1 changes, if that is taking long time to approve. Meantime, stopgap, if we apply for B2 approved first, then what is the status of continuing education? Do we need to stop because that
B2, no. On a B2, the children can't attend university, number one, so that's a big problem. And the F1 change of status won't take more than 6 months. So that's why you should apply way ahead of time before the child turns 21.
Okay, so if the date passes and then no approval at all, so what is the status? Can we stay?
Filed, well, you need to file at least before the child turns 21 so that they can get on, I think just take the rule that apply 6 months prior to 6 months or greater. So definitely apply further out, because as long as you have filed and the status is pending, their status is safe.
Okay,
and
that helps.
However, they'd have to petition the university, can they attend school? Nowadays, everything's online. It's going to be online for the next year. So that should be something you have to discuss with the university.
Yeah, so we did discuss, and then we are still in discussion with them.
Right.
but I didn't know we have a family NAPA side attorney, and also this is the first time I'm hearing. So we definitely get the help. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes, good luck. Yeah, just take the time to do, take the steps to do it ahead of time.
Right. Again, the next question goes to immigration. This gentleman name is Bala Jonadula. He's in India, stuck in India basically, unable to get into the USA, and his H1 is expiring soon. So his question is, if visa expires when he's out of the country, is there any way to apply the extension apart from the non-cap applications?
Yeah, absolutely. If an individual has an H1B and has not used their 6 years on H1B, or if they have an I-140 pending, they are continuously non-cap, they're cap exempt. So if the H1 expires, whenever the employer wants them back, they will file a new H1B at the consulate for him, and assuming the consulate's open, then they can appear for the consular interview. So even if an H1 is expiring, they can definitely apply at the consulate, so long as they've not used their 6 years. If the 6 years is used up, if they have an immigrant petition that has been pending or been approved, they're entitled to continue to be on H1B, and they're cap exempt, and they're not subject to the lottery.
Good. Any more questions from the floor?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this is Srinivas. Actually Bala's uncle. I'm in Chicago here. The question is, can his employer apply while he's in India?
Absolutely. That's called consular H1B process. You would apply in the United States at the Citizenship and Immigration Services here, and we'd ask for consular processing.
Yeah, he has not yet started to apply for green card. He doesn't have 140. Still, he could still go ahead and ask his employer to apply there.
Does he have less than? Does he have the available time on? He's not maxed out on the 6 years, right?
No.
He has
No, he has time.
He has time. He has
so then
time.
it's fine. He can absolutely, the employer can apply for him at the USCIS and ask for the consular processing and for the remaining period of time on H-1B of the 6 years that's not used.
And what's the usual time that it should take? I mean, I'm just concerned about, while he is in India, he's applied, and while it is in process and, travel gets open, then he should be able to travel back, right? So.
Well, premium processing is not available currently. They always seem to eliminate it in the month of March or April, and that adjudicates a case in 2 to 3 weeks. Since that is not available, the normal processing time of an H-1B runs approximately 6 to 8 months. But premium processing, they always seem to bring back into July or August. So at that point, then maybe you can also use premium processing. So they should start the process as soon as possible. That's the answer to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question regarding my daughter's visa. She's on H1, visiting visa, which is expires on June 16. His actual flight was, May 26th, but unfortunately because of the virus, the flight was cancelled and the new ticket is on July 4th. For these 18 days or 20 days, shall I get the extension or with the old visa, is it okay?
Her stay was to expire in June, right?
June 16th.
Yeah, and she can only travel the next month. To be on the safe side, I would file an extension just to show, but at the same time, if you file an extension and she leaves the country, it's going to get denied anyways. But if you file it, it shows that she took all, you don't want her to be prevented from coming back into the country because
that's the issue. Yeah.
She didn't, it's a bigger risk you take by failing to apply. In other words, apply for the extension before it expires. So you have evidence that, look, I did try to file that extension. It might just well come through. And it's better for her because you obviously don't want her to, have any negative, the U.S. consulate. At the same time, they're going to understand that COVID affected the situation, but you know what, it all depends. So I would apply, if I were you, for an extension to be on the safe side.
Yeah, I'm planning to apply, but anyhow, thank you for your suggestion.
Sure. We're doing that. We have a lot of those questions, and we have a lot of clients who have had to file for B2 extensions. We say don't take a chance because we never know how they're going to be at the consulate down the road. They have to consider COVID, delaying and canceling flights, but to what extent, we don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I have a question. This is Avinash from Chicago. So what all the precautionary things we need to take care for filing this year H-1B? Like if a person got selected for this year H-1B lottery, so what all the things we need to take care on the paperwork basis?
Okay, so that's a very general question. So number one, are you an employer or are you an H-1B employee, or are you asking this for another friend? Because it all depends.
So this is my case, I can say you.
Okay, for your case. So is your case filed? I mean, without revealing too much personal details, when you say what are the precautions, it's a list of, did you already submit the documentation, or you're in the process?
Not yet. Okay. So, yeah.
I mean, if you went to the university in America, all the master's degree certificates or bachelor's degree certificates, transcripts, your passport copy, your any experience letters that are relevant. So typically there's a whole list of documentation, and if there's a particular client you're going to be working at, the employer has to submit all the client contracts, which would consist of the master agreement, the purchase order, If there are multiple parties involved, between certain documentation must be submitted between all the parties involved. If you have the employer, and whatnot.
Yeah, the general format of the documentation is taken care, but can you suggest anything other than the general format of documentation, like for this year? Like this is like new year, like the electronic H1B, right? So that's the only thing.
No, there's nothing new in terms of just the electronic registration was just the new part. Nothing has changed from the old documentation, the prior rule. The same documentation applies. There's absolutely nothing new, with the exception of new forms that the employer has to sign. The new questions are, when you're filing for a change of status, so I'm assuming status, they do ask the question, the new part is whether you've ever taken public benefits related to the public charge rule. And that's about it. Other than that, everything is, standard.
Sure. And one last question. This year, they are saying that there will be no RFEs and it will be straight denials or something like that. Any information on that?
I don't know who's saying that, but it's not true. Because USCIS has to issue a request for evidence. If they deny a case straight, you can immediately appeal it. That USCIS, I don't know, it sounds like a rumor. It has no truth to it.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Right.
Sure, you're welcome.
Yeah. So I just wanted to emphasize here, the gentleman, this Balaji. I need to emphasize the time limitation here. We are coming to almost hour and a half. I request Rani and Ramarao to hang on for last 5 minutes for any last minute questions. And then I'm going to do the closing, thanking them. So go ahead.
Hi, Rani. This is Yashwant from Michigan. I have a question. I'm on H-1B visa and I've been working from home. Is it required to file an amendment for change of address? What are the requirements?
Hi, sorry, what is your name?
Yashwant.
Yashwant. Hi, Yashwant. How are you?
Hi, good.
Where is your, when an H-1B visa holder is working, when an H-1B petition is filed on behalf of the H-1B visa worker, the labor condition application indicates the city and state the person's working. So the city and state, are you in the same city and is your home in the same city and state that was filed for the H-1B petition?
No, it is in different city.
Okay, different city. Is it the same state?
Yeah, it's the same state.
How far is the difference of location between the employment work site and your home?
It's only 5 miles from my workplace.
I didn't hear that. What did you say?
The distance is like 7 miles from my home to my workplace.
So there is no need to file an amendment petition when the difference in the work site is within the same metropolitan statistical area. A metropolitan statistical area is a commutable area of distance that is a commutable distance within 30 to 40 miles of the initial work site or the initial location. Certainly when you're within 7 miles of that location, you would not need to file an amendment petition at all. The only caveat or concern would be that if there is a site visit, the officer, which that stuff may still be happening soon, the officer may go to the work site that is listed on the LCA, which is the H-1B petition, and go to the office location, at which point the employer will say, oh, well, he's working at the home. And that's when maybe they'll contact you there. So that's the only difference. But other than that, you are perfectly fine to work from home because it is within the same metropolitan statistical area as the initial work site.
Okay. Thank you, Ronnie.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Yash.
I have one question. Since USCIS biometric office is closed, how it could be happen for the H4 extension?
So I had mentioned that if your spouse has had prior H4 EADs or biometrics, has she?
Not yet. It's in a process.
Is this the first time or is this an extension?
Second time, this one.
So they're going to use the prior biometrics that are on file.
Oh, okay.
They
What about
specifically
what about the first timers? Like they didn't have the biometric.
they will just have to wait. They will just keep processing the case until the time opens up for the biometrics. Normally the H4s take about 4 to 6 months. So as biometrics open, which they expect within the next 60 days to open, then they will issue the notices at that time.
Got it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Hi. Can we file change of status after H1B denial?
You cannot file H1B change of status. Although, how long are you? Is it within the 60 days after the denial, or is it after the 60 days?
It is after.
In other words, the 60 days has passed, the grace period.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can't file a change of status after that, after the denial, after this point. Is there an appeal being filed?
No, we are just waiting for the travel ban to be lifted.
In order to leave, yeah. So yeah, unfortunately this time it's not possible to file a change of status. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Hi, Rani. I'm sorry. Sorry, apology for. I have a quick question for Rani. I'm extremely sorry. It's so my H1 is going to expire in the month of September next year, and my dependents' passports are going to expire in the month of January the next year. I mean, 2021 is my H1, and the 2022 January my dependents' passports is going to expire. So, in this case, will I be go with the new passport numbers, or which one will be the better idea?
You should definitely, a passport can be renewed within, is it 6 months or a year? Whatever, you should try to apply with the new passport. Otherwise, the I-94 will be issued only to the extent of the passport. So you could file it and you can show that it's pending and ask for that 3-year period or whatnot. But definitely get the, just show that the passport, submit the passport application ahead of time. And when you're filing the visa, make sure you give them the information that it's being extended, and or give them the new passport if you have it by then.
Yeah. Thank you, Rani, for your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So I think we are at 7:36. Thank you, Rani and Ramarao, for extending this time, although I mentioned about hour and 15 minutes. And for all the viewers and attendees at this point, right? And Rani has been so grateful giving us this valuable time despite the weekend, and so is Ramarao. What we're going to do is, I think I have seen, the purpose of this webinar was to actually support the COVID-related impact issues, whether from the immigration side or from the financial side. However, we have noticed a lot of general issues with their F1s, H1s, and green card processing and everything. So I'm gonna try to see if I can convince Rani and Ramarao to at least be with us once in 3 months or 4 months, because I know her power, we cannot afford her our rate, but I will try to convince her. To all your awareness, Rani comes from our extended family, Padmashali, and she's so graceful about this. She's also passionate to help us out anytime. That's why I repeatedly posted the emails also. You can go to her website. And Ramarao, although he's not Padmashali, but he's married to this organization. So he knows everything about this organization, all the numbers which comes in and goes out. And all the time we consult with him for all the activities we do to stay in the 501c nonprofit status. So he's part of the family by marriage. So thank you, both of you, for your time and consideration for all the families. And I thank all the families joining from across the US. I heard few states as far as Chicago, Michigan, and all that. There might be people from California who are good listeners, probably other states. But we will try to conduct this at least 90 days to 120 days with their availability. I thank everyone at this time.
Thank you, Balaji.
Thank
You
you
did a terrific job. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mr. Ramarao, too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rani.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Balaji, are you going to post this recording somewhere or?
Yeah, we will post it in the WhatsApp groups.
Okay.
Thank you, Ronnie and Ramarao Garu. This is Anjan Karnati.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ramarao, this is Pradeep. Thank you for your time running. Thank you so much. I think there are a lot of people want to ask some more questions, but we need a lot more time. Probably maybe next time. Or they can send an email, or we can gather some questions and we'll send you an email, because I'm sure there are a lot of people have a lot of questions. So we'll try to consolidate and send you an email.
Sure. Balaji, then I'll post my email right now at the end right now. I'll do that. And if Balaji, whoever wants to put, I'll do that. This way they can, and then maybe Balaji, you can send us the list of questions or whatnot. But at least
there is email on the flyer. If you can send questions to COVID-19 at NAPA.
Yeah, I posted in the chat also the emails.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you give. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
That's fine, Balaji.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.